Hi everyone, it's been a little while. Something I heard the other day caught my ear and my attention, and I just felt like sharing some thoughts about it. This Representative Swalwell from California comes out and says that the Second Amendment is not an absolute right. I don't know who he is to say that it's not an absolute right. Heller versus the United States settled this question already, and it is also the belief of 44 out of 50 states' constitutions that it is an individual right. I wish it was all 50. But it's not. Anyway, when we look at the Bill of Rights, we think of things that the citizens have a right to. You know, trial by jury, freedom of speech, those things come to mind. When the Bill of Rights was introduced, it was added to the Constitution with the idea that further declaratory and restrictive clauses should be added to the Constitution. That's in the preamble to the Bill of Rights. That's part of that language. The idea was to put further restriction on the central government, to hold back its power, to control it, to give the people some freedom. And the idea behind the Second Amendment, history class has taught us that it was the right to keep and bear arms in the event we ever had to use them against our own government. And I pray that that day never has to arrive. But who is this representative for we the people to come out and say something that is not an absolute right? Can you imagine if we took, say, women's suffrage, that right, and he said, well, that's not an absolute right, for women to vote. The backlash would be tremendous. He'd be slammed on social media. He'd be facing demonstrations outside of his offices. It'd be terrible. But it would also be expected. But as far as the Second Amendment goes, it's just as absolute as the rest of the Bill of Rights. These days, it seems government looks for ways around these restrictive clauses, ways to violate them or to say, well, it really doesn't mean that. Well, who are they to say that it really doesn't mean that when it says that? Now, I understand the idea of, say, you got freedom of speech, you can't yell fire in a movie theater, that we always use that as our fallback example. But it is not for him to come out and say, no, that's not a right for the people, that's absolute. He's there to defend and uphold that Constitution. He swore an oath to it. He's not there to make excuses for finding ways around it, to empower government. That's all I have for right now, just my thoughts for the day. Y'all take care.